Come and get right up in here, mine. Okay, I think we're going to get started. Let me say good afternoon to everyone. We have today, I know the County Judge Lena Hidalgo will be joining us shortly. It's always good to have Commissioner Rodney Ellis of Precinct 1 and Commissioner Adrian Garcia of Precinct 2. Then council members who are present, Councilmember David Robinson, Councilmember Edward Pollard, Councilmember Tiffany Thomas, Councilmember Sally Alcorn, Councilmember Count Evan Shabazz. Am I missing anyone? I think I got everyone. And then virtually, we will have, and are we pulling Anthony Love on the screen now? Anthony Love, who is the interim director of the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, USICH. Mike Nichols, president and CEO of the Coalition for the Homeless of Houston-Harris County. Mark Eichenbaum, the special advisor to the mayor. Mark, why don't you come around here? Director Keith Bynum, the interim director of Housing and Community Development for the city of Houston. I have a number of directors, and Econ, Chief Economic Development Officer is also present, Chief Pena, and many of my other department heads as well. Let me say good afternoon, and I want to thank everyone for being present here today. In July of 2021, in this very room, on this very same stage, the city and county stood together to announce the Community COVID Homeless Housing Program, an innovative, historic $65 million initiative, the largest and most ambitious initiative to reduce homelessness in the history of the city or the county. Launched in October of 2021 with a 2-month startup phase, the initiative included an aggressive goal to house 5,000 individuals experiencing homelessness in just 2 years, and to do so during a pandemic. Today, I'm excited to stand here again to release the results of this initiative. Through our collective work with the Coalition for the Homeless and fellow agencies of The Way Home, we not only met our goal, we beat it, and did so in record time. Less than a year after launching the initiative, we surpassed our goal to house 5,000 individuals in August of 2021. And to date, the initiative has housed more than 7,000 individuals experiencing homelessness, setting a record in the state and possibly even the nation. That includes placing nearly 1,100 individuals who are disabled and have been living on our streets for years into permanent supportive housing with wraparound supportive services, rapidly rehousing more than 3,180 individuals who were living in our shelters and on our streets by providing short-term rental assistance and case management, and helping 2,800 individuals who were falling into homelessness over the past year due to the economic impacts of COVID-19 preserving their housing. In fact, we have housed more people this past year than we have in the prior 2 years combined. While these may just be numbers to some, these numbers represent real human beings with names and family connections. They are our neighbors, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters, each with unique life stories whose lives have been transformed and saved through this vital program. These are individuals whose lives needed to be restored, needed that helping hand. And because of the initiative between Harris County and the City of Houston, the Coalition for the Homeless, and so many others, their lives have been enhanced for the better. The hard truth is that without the vital resources provided through this program, we would have housed less than 1,000 individuals during the same period. Due to the country's partnership, the work of the coalition, and the 100 agencies of the Way Home, and vital federal COVID-related funds, we were able to house more than 7 times the number of individuals experiencing homelessness we would have otherwise served. Make no mistake, this is an emergency response to an infectious disease, but one that will have a permanent impact by decreasing our homeless population. But the pandemic is not over, and we are not out of the woods yet. Now is not the time to let our guard down. Continued investment in homelessness prevention and response is necessary to keep a potential homeless crisis at bay, further reduce our homeless population, and save lives during this ongoing pandemic. We are not resting on our laurels, for more must be done, and we must keep the momentum going. Therefore, today, we are one-upping ourselves. The city and Harris County once again stand here together side by side to launch phase 2 of our joint community COVID-19 homeless housing initiative. This new phase dwarfs anything we have done in the past. Phase 2 is a $100 million initiative to house 7,000 individuals experiencing homelessness in 3 years, starting with City Council's overwhelming support this morning of a $6.2 million housing navigation center. I will be bringing additional items to Council over the coming months, totaling more than $35 million that will be collectively combined with county, state, and private dollars to fund phase 2 of this initiative. Since 2011, we have used housing to reduce the size of our homeless population by half. Phase 2 will help us do it again, reducing our homeless population by an additional 50%. Moreover, phase 2 will enable us to continue to holistically decommission encampments and reduce street homelessness to the lowest level of any major city in the nation. Homelessness in our region knows no geographical or political boundaries and affects every community and requires a community-wide response. Lastly, I've said it before and we'll say it again. In Houston, we either go big or we go home. And today we're going big so that most vulnerable Houstonians can go home. In addition to Harris County, the vital expertise of the Coalition for the Homeless and all of the incredible agencies of the Way Home, we cannot do this without the tremendous work of the city's Housing and Community Development Department and its staff. And we are also grateful for the vital support provided by the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, HUD, and USICH, and especially grateful for the federal dollars made available by President Biden's administration that have made its way down to the city of Houston. Without those resources, we would not be able to do what we have already done and will continue to do. So now let's take a moment to reflect on the work done and the lives that would be continued to be changed. A short video clip.
They got me into rapid rehousing, and right away, I think it was 8, maybe 9 weeks, and I have my own apartment. I'm independent, and it feels so awesome. They got me on my feet.
House full of food, icebox full of food. Don't have to go begging. Nothing. Can eat me some breakfast when I want to. My nice and clean bathroom. I can bathe now. Like we gotta get me. And look at all my cosmetics. Still filling it up.
I found out more information. I signed up for it, and within a month, I heard back from someone. So I was really impressed because I kind of discouraged, like, "Oh, how is it gonna take forever?" You know. So they were like, "No, just go sign up." Da da da. So I did that, and it, you know, I really was pulled in really fast. The support was there, and it allowed me to kind of now breathe and figure out now what's my next best steps.
Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. And Houston, this is a great day. I just want to take a point of personal privilege to recognize all the elected officials here, City of Houston, members of council, my colleague, Commissioner Ellis, and our esteemed county judge, Lina Hidalgo, for which, if not for the leadership of them, Mayor, this issue of the endeavor of trying to end homelessness. I mean, how does President Obama say it? The audacity to think that we can end homelessness. Well, thanks to the good work of Mike Nichols and the Coalition of the Homeless, Mark, and with my staff, Mercedes, and the collective commitment of the two political superpowers of this region, the City of Houston and Harris County, we are on the cusp of ending homelessness. And I'll simply say that from the vantage point of having been a police officer and having patrolled the streets of Houston and having on more than one occasion, more than I can remember, that someone's vulnerability was a reason for why important resources, Judge, were being directed to this individual. And we simply accepted that this is their fault. This was their choosing for why they were under bridges, in encampments, on the street corners, that we simply accepted that. But I'm so proud that through the collective work of our leadership, the mayor, our county judge, that we found the political will to combine resources, because there used to be a kind of this going on, Mayor. We would say, oh, City of Houston, and the City of Houston would say, oh, the county. But I will tell you that this is a we effort. We're in it together. We are working to deal with this. And the numbers that the mayor has already mentioned, overshooting where we thought we would be, and recognizing that there are people today that are no longer homeless, Mayor. That is something to be proud of. And I want to say that I've gotten the chance to meet some of them, and to have them recognize that we are acknowledging them as our fellow human beings, not the leopards that they have often been treated as. I want to commend those that are on the front line doing the most difficult. I see Mr. Wayne Young from the Harris Center doing the most delicate, most complicated, but most compassionate piece of the work. If not for their skill, these individuals may not have confidence in what we're proposing and what we have to offer. But the skill of those individuals who are committed to serving the most vulnerable is what has gotten us to this point. And then let us not forget that we are a region that prides ourselves in those who have served our nation. When there is Veterans Day, we do a phenomenal parade. We put wreaths at the National Memorial Cemetery. We hold flags up on the 4th of July. We cannot forget those veterans who, for no circumstances or fault to their own, are in some of these encampments. And so this program is also touching the lives of our nation's finest who have found a difficult time in their lives. And they're bringing them back to where they should be, on that pedestal where we can all salute them and acknowledge them. And so I'm very proud, and I, again, want to say that for the collective work of our leadership, I want to thank Judge Lina Hidalgo because she has helped us think about the impossible. She has helped us to commit to reaching where we haven't reached before. And she has committed us to helping us think about the unthinkable. All of what we're celebrating here today are those tenets of your leadership, and I'm so proud to be serving alongside you. And also, I will ask the judge to share some remarks in Spanish, but I would just simply say that the number of 100 million that we're now shooting to invest is critical. There is no doubt that with what we have done, we have actually saved money. We have saved valuable resources. And Catherine, please, career recovery is at the tip of the spear, and we're so proud of your colleagues for all that they're doing. And so again, this is a great day for me. I'm so proud, and we should be proud in Houston and in Harris County for setting now a national example of what can be done when you have the audacity to think about it. Thank you.
And if you notice, Commissioner Ellis was here and he stepped right outside. I think, Judge, with three of y'all, that's a quorum. So he stepped out to prevent a quorum. Let me now bring up the County Judge, Lina Hidalgo.
Thank you, Mayor Turner. It's great to see everybody here, to all the members, the council members. Mayor, I know you were just at the Conference of Mayors, and you're showing other cities how it is done. You are all showing other jurisdictions how it's done, and I appreciate you setting this North Star and committing to this issue as you have over the past few years. And to Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner brought the item in 2020 to Commissioner's Court, which allowed the county to commit millions, combined with the city's commitment, philanthropic community, the nonprofits, the incredible work that we did. And Commissioner, it shows that you're there in the communities. You don't just hear homelessness and say, oh, sure, that's one of the issues. You get it, and you get that we can actually address it. And I'd be remiss not to mention Mike Nichols, who several times he came up to me and he said, Judge, I know you have a lot on your plate, but homelessness, I'm telling you, we can get this done. And so his voice was ringing in my ear, and we are getting it done. So thank you to everybody who has made this possible. And of course, Mr. Anthony Love, who joins us from the U.S. Interagency Council, thank you. Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to the U.S. Marshal's Office and the Mexican authorities as well for the capture of the suspect in the murder of our Precinct 5 Corporal Galloway. It will not bring him back, but it is an important step toward justice, accountability, and healing. And so on behalf of this community, my thanks go out to all of these authorities. We stand here at an inflection point in our fight to end homelessness. And the leaders you see here, combined with an infusion of once-in-a-lifetime funds on these issues, represent our best chance of ending homelessness. We have to recognize the federal government, our congressional delegation, who have allowed us the funding to help make this possible. I'm proud to announce that yesterday, the Harris County Commissioner's Court committed funds toward Phase 2 of the Community COVID Housing Program for a total investment of $35 million from Harris County, only for Phase 2. Of course, the city has an enormous commitment as well, and their investment they made for Phase 1. This work doesn't happen overnight. It requires thoughtful investment. It requires deep relationships with many groups and leaders throughout the community. It requires, most importantly, a united front, and it's what we're proud to show today, all of us rowing in the same direction. Today we're focusing on the most recent chapter of this story, but I want to emphasize the steady work that has paved the way for this moment. We've shifted the paradigm. In 2020, the county, the city, the philanthropic community, others, we set out to serve 5,000 people over 2 years by October 2022 through diversion, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, case management, and other services like mental health services by the Harris Center, who we must acknowledge. The program exceeded its goal. In record time, over 7,000 people were served. This coalition facilitated the removal of 4 homeless encampments. So even with the pandemic and evictions, we were able to reduce homelessness by 1,000 individuals between the start of the program and the end of the program. The fact that we've been able to serve 7,000 people tells you how many people we kept from being homeless in the first place. We prevented 3,000 folks from being homeless, provided rapid rehousing help for about 3,000, and we got 1,000 chronically homeless folks off the streets. In decommissioning homeless encampments, we've done that by using a model that works with all kinds of agencies on a collaborative approach, and we're proud to have been recognized as a national model for that. We expanded permanent supportive housing, and earlier this year we funded a campus for foster youth who might be at risk of experiencing homelessness. While we celebrate today, Phase 2 of this effort will provide housing to at least 5,000 more formerly homeless individuals or folks who might be at risk of homelessness, giving them an opportunity to receive the services they need to get back on track, to be able to participate more fully in our community. Housing is healthcare. Housing is a human right. And in Harris County, housing is a goal we fight for together, arm in arm, with our partners at the city, at the Coalition for the Homeless, in the community, and an army of agencies that will not rest until we end homelessness in our region and every single person in this county has a home. Thank you, Mayor, and everybody for your work on this. Let me briefly repeat in Spanish. Primero quiero agradecerle al alcalde, quien ha mostrado un mapa, un camino para terminar este problema, poner fin a la falta de vivienda en nuestra comunidad. Al comisionado García, quien ha liderado muchos de esos esfuerzos en el condado, fue el primero que propuso esta inversión en el año 2020, y también a los líderes de todas las organizaciones que están aquí. Antes de hablar de este tema, quiero agradecerle a la policía, a la oficina del U.S. Marshal y a las autoridades mexicanas por su trabajo en la captura de la persona acusada del asesinato del alguacil de Precinto 5, Corporal Galloway, quien perdió su vida este fin de semana. Esto no significa que él va a regresar, pero sí es un paso importante hacia la justicia. Y es un paso importante para tantas personas que están sufriendo por esta pérdida. Hoy día nos encontramos en un punto de inflexión, en un punto en la lucha para poner fin a la falta de vivienda. Los líderes que ven aquí han invertido una cantidad histórica de fondos para poder avanzar esta causa. Me enorgullece anunciar que el día de ayer la Corte de Comisionados aprobó la fase 2 del programa para poner fin a la falta de vivienda es un compromiso de $35 millones por encima de las docenas de millones que ya habíamos invertido para la parte 1 del programa, y esto se suma a las inversiones de la ciudad y de tantas otras organizaciones. Este trabajo no se logra del día a la noche, requiere inversiones inteligentes, relaciones con la comunidad muy profundas, trabajo constante y más que nada un frente unido. Y eso es lo que demostramos hoy día, tantos de nosotros trabajando mano a mano para terminar este reto. Hoy estamos hablando del último capítulo en esta historia, pero sí quiero enfatizar los logros que ya hemos obtenido. Desde en el 2020, junio de 2020, nos pusimos una meta de apoyar a 5,000 personas a lo largo de 2 años, antes del octubre del 2022, a través de la desviación, el realojamiento rápido, vivienda de apoyo permanente y otras opciones. Logramos sobrepasar esa meta. Estamos apenas en enero y en este tiempo más de 7,000 individuos han recibido nuestros servicios. Logramos facilitar el despego de 4 campamentos para personas sin hogar. Y más que nada, hemos podido reducir la falta de vivienda por 1,000 personas. Son 1,000 personas menos que viven hoy día en nuestras calles. Y eso es en medio de la pandemia, en medio de tantos desalojos que se están llevando a cabo. El hecho de que hemos apoyado a 7,000 personas nos demuestra tantas personas que hemos logrado prevenir, personas a quienes hemos ayudado a prevenir la falta de hogar. También hemos desmantelado estos campamentos para personas sin hogar con un modelo nuevo, cooperativo, que ha sido reconocido nacionalmente. En agosto del 2021 expandimos la vivienda de apoyo permanente y este año, hace unas semanas a finales del año pasado, financiamos un campus para jóvenes saliendo del sistema de crianza temporal, el cual ayudará también a prevenir la falta de hogar. La parte 2 de este esfuerzo va a ofrecer vivienda y apoyo a 5,000 personas más, dándoles la oportunidad de participar de una manera completa en la comunidad, apoyándonos a todos y ayudando a que esta comunidad sea aún más fuerte. El derecho a la vivienda es un derecho humano y es por eso que estamos aquí. En el condado, la vivienda es una causa por la cual luchamos juntos. Es una causa por la cual lucharemos hasta solucionar este problema y mano a mano con los socios en la ciudad, en la coalición para las personas sin hogar y un ejército de agencias trabajando por esto, vamos a lograr llegar a esa meta y ya vamos muy bien en camino. Muchas gracias. Mayor, I do have to apologize. I have another commitment, so as I excuse myself, please don't take that as a sign of my commitment to this issue. It's great to be with you all. Thank you, Mayor Turner.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. Thank you. No, I knew your schedule was very, very tight, so I appreciate it. Let me now call the chairman of the Housing Committee at City Council, who will be championing this initiative through City Council, and that's Councilmember Tiffany Thomas.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely be brief. I just happen to believe that what we do unto the least of these, we do unto ourselves. And if I can back up to this morning's item, and thank you, Mayor Turner, for placing this on the agenda for the Navigation Center. This is a series of right turns the city has made regarding homelessness. And I know we're talking about the phenomenal Phase 2 investment around the collaboration with the city and county. But there is work that continues to happen to supplement the impact and the priorities on making sure that the Houstonians that are homeless, experiencing homelessness in our city, they have a way home. So I just want to thank my colleagues for supporting that item, and then reinforce to the community that as we do this work publicly, that we have you in mind. So we are taking into consideration your concerns, but we are moving beyond the stories and actually offering solutions. I am proud to chair this committee. I am proud to work with my colleagues, and I thank you, Mayor Turner, for your leadership in making sure that this is a commitment. And thank Mark Eichenbaum's team of 1 and 1. I think it's a small shop, which is a very small shop. and working in collaboration with other city departments to make sure that the citywide encampment strategy, the work with our partnerships, the work with our vendors, that is actually meeting the goals, and we're getting Houstonians stabilized and self-reliant. So continue to watch our outcomes, because we'll definitely have some more to share. Thank you.
Thank you. And someone who's been very committed to this effort from day one, Commissioner of Precinct 1, Commissioner Rodney Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. I can't wait until I come right here one day at one of these press conferences and I'm going to speak in Spanish, and it's going to blow everybody's mind. It won't be like those swimming lessons you and I committed to, which remember I told you I don't have to learn how to swim, just have to learn how to beat you across the pool. But I'm glad to be here. I'm proud of my colleagues, Judge Hidalgo and Commissioner Garcia in particular. It was not a unanimous vote at Commissioner's Court, but we did get it passed. All of us, my colleagues, all protocols observed, I won't call your names out, but you know, all of us in public life are real big on these resolutions. And sometimes I used to point out when we were in the legislature, Mayor, that a resolution is just a 10-letter word. So the real commitment comes when you're willing to put some money up, some policies up to solve the problem. It's appropriate to pay homage to those who came before us. I can remember the three amigos, Rabbi Karff, Bill Lawson, Archbishop Phil Renzo sleeping out, I think, under the Pierce elevator some years ago to make the case in this city, in this county, we ought to do something about the homeless. It's appropriate you do a press conference. $100 million is a big deal. It's appropriate to thank the federal government because that's where this money is coming from. But more than anything, it's appropriate for us to stand here for an hour and do this press conference, because when that money from the federal government is gone, and it will be gone, the challenge will be for us to convince our community it's worth investing in this problem. Look, during this pandemic, we've seen a lot of people in food lines, in big cars, who never anticipated they would need a basic commodity like food. I don't think anybody went through these figures, someone mentioned them. In the week of January 11th, 2022 alone, there were over 1,200 eviction hearing cases in Harris County. Last week, there were lines out of the door at eviction court. And each night, more than 3,000 people are currently sleeping on streets or in temporary shelter, losing their homes recently, or maybe years ago. 1 in 7 unsheltered people cited COVID as a reason for their homelessness during 2021. So the challenge for us is to make sure when these federal resources are gone, that we have a commitment to do this as well, to make a resolution more than just a 10-letter word. So thank you, Mayor. Glad to be with you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me now turn to Anthony Love, the Interim Executive Director of the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness. Anthony.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and good afternoon, and thank you to all of the leaders on the panel there for having me here today. For those who don't know, and the Mayor just shared, my name is Anthony Love. I'm a proud Houstonian, and for the last 12 years, I've been living in Washington, D.C., and for the last 10 months, I've been serving as the Interim Executive Director of the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, better known to some of you as USICH. A little bit about USICH. We're the only federal agency whose sole mission is focused on preventing and ending homelessness. We do this by coordinating with the private sector to help communities create those partnerships that you are talking about today, using resources in the most efficient and effective way and employing evidence-based practices. The latter part of what I just said involves the exceptional work of our regional coordinators who are in constant contact with the local leaders on the front lines of this devastating issue. Hopefully by now, many of you know our regional coordinator who covers Texas. Her name is Tamara Wright. She is somewhat new to USICH, but not to the issue of homelessness and definitely not to Houston. As you all know, the American Rescue Plan made a historically large investment in immediate and long-term solutions to housing and homelessness. But some of this funding is brand new and can be tricky to implement. And although we likely all agree that cash is nice, I think we know and also agree that you can't build an apartment or a unit of housing with just stacks of cash. That's why HUD and USICH launched the House America initiative. We're partnering with mayors and governors, county officials, and tribal leaders across the country to help them maximize the impact of this once in a generation funding and to recognize the good work that they're doing. Our goal is to find permanent, safe, affordable housing, deeply affordable housing, for at least 100,000 people experiencing homelessness, and to significantly expand the supply of affordable housing in communities across America. Although Houston and Harris County is just signing up today to join the more than 60 communities that make up House America, it comes as no surprise to me that you've been following the spirit of this initiative. Your use of federal funding for the COVID homeless housing program to set goals and break rehousing records is something that other communities, other cities, other counties can learn from. And as the mayor just mentioned, I was told initially that it was 5,000 people, but you've gotten 7,000 people out of shelters, off the streets, and into housing. And in true Houston fashion, you did it a year ahead of time. This is truly inspiring and life-saving. The work you do is critical to our efforts to prevent and end homelessness, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Before I close, I just want to especially acknowledge the heroic service providers who have been working through multiple tragedies, a pandemic that's taken the lives of most of our vulnerable men, women, and children, a disruption of our so-called normal, and unprecedented weather events that we're still recovering from. We know that the risk you're taking and the physical and emotional burdens you carry are immense, and we're grateful for your commitment to carry on. You show up, and your service to others goes above and beyond. The debt we owe you cannot be matched by any of my words, but what I do hope is that USICH can help Houston to continue to effectively implement the significant new federal funding and save the lives of those Houstonians who are homeless. Again, thank you and congratulations on your accomplishments. I look forward to see what you do next. And now I will turn it over to the mayor and to, I guess, Mr. Nichols for the official signing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anthony. And again, with USICH. Mike Nichols, the president and CEO of the Coalition for the Homeless of Houston-Harris County.
I'll also try to be quick. I'm representative. I'm representing the more than 100 agencies who make up the Way Home, the folks who run the Continuum of Care Steering Committee, led by Barbie Brashear of the Harris County Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, and many, many other agencies. This success would not be possible without this group. Let me just name a few of the folks: Baker Ripley, the Beacon, Career Recovery, Catholic Charities, Endeavors, the Harris Center for Mental Health and IDD. Wayne Young's here. He is one of my heroes because he stepped up to answer the call that we would solve homelessness. Houston Area Women's Center, Houston Housing Authorities, again, a huge partner in this. Northwest Assistance Ministry, Salvation Army of Greater Houston, Search Homeless Services, and Spring Branch. This success is a result of the collaboration. I believe in good government, and this proves out that government can help people. Government can be people-centric, and that's very, very important, and the collaboration is proof here. This morning I thanked Melody Barr in the Department of Housing for her work on the Navigation Center on the housing, and her response was, it takes a village. And yes, it takes a village, and your government officials are working together to do that. When I look at heroes, and I try to explain to my grandchildren what a hero is, it is more than someone who can fly. It is people who do two things, who one, help the most vulnerable, and two, do something without looking at the popularity that this causes. I saw Mayor Turner yesterday stand up for something that may not be popular, but it's so important in the Navigation Center. I saw two county commissioners and the county judge stand up for something that people are going to ask questions about, but they stood up and said, we're going to put money into solving homelessness. What I want to say to all of you is we in the homeless response system, Mike Nichols, Mark Eichenbaum, the city, the county, all these agencies will spend this money wisely, carefully, and you will find that it's fiscally responsible and morally responsible to house individuals. There's so many people in here that we can thank. I see Bob Urey, who represents the business community and philanthropy, who helped so much in making this go forward. I have one last point. When we talk about housing in Houston, it's a three-legged stool. It is a real unit with a key and an apartment with a roof, refrigerator, beds. It's a real unit. It's not a tiny house, and it's not something that's temporary. It's permanent with a lease. When we talk about housing in Houston, it has support services attached. Case managers who will help people move to the next step and solve whatever issues their trauma has given them. That's the second leg. The third leg is vouchers and funding. Again, vouchers, thankful to the housing authorities for those vouchers, funding and what you have today. Those of you who know me know that I never sit down without an ask. And my ask today is to contact your friends in the apartment industry and tell them our community needs 1,700 additional one-bedroom units for our clients. And these clients come holding vouchers and holding guaranteed payments. They come with support for case managers. Tell them that Houston and Harris County can be the first major metropolitan area to end chronic homelessness. Tell them how close we are to solving homelessness in our community. But we do need those apartment owners and apartment managers in our community to answer our call and say yes.
Thanks, Mike. In a minute, Commissioner Ellis and I are going to sit down and sign this resolution, commemorating. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Is it commemorating? Okay, I was just trying to see if y'all were listening. Memorializing is the word I'm looking at. This is great. But before we do, I do want to take the time to acknowledge again on the city side, people like Mark Eichenbaum. Mark, thank you so very much for your leadership. Really appreciate it. And Director Keith Bynum, for you and your whole team. Thank you all. Really appreciate it. And now, if you will, Mike took the words. You took the words. Let me sing for you, "Hero," as we give it back.
I never want to take the mayor's.
All right, let's do this. Let's sign this.
We are done, sir. Thank you very much. Have a good day. We're out.